People were talking about impeaching this president before he even got inaugurated. And now they're getting their wish. Nancy Pelosi finally capitulated to her angry mob. At 1 p.m. on Tuesday, she told the Atlantic Festival, pull it, everyone, no, we need an investigation first. We're not close to impeachment. We need an investigation first. A couple hours later, she does the worst thing a woman in power can do, which is she just changes her mind because the men around her said, change your mind. We need an impeachment. She did that without seeing the transcript of the call, the memo of the call.
Are you saying
that you seem to don't like what's in there.
Are you saying she got intimidated
Clearly.
by men?
And something happened. I don't know what she had for lunch, an equivocation sandwich. I mean, at 1 o'clock she said, we're not going to do that. At 4 o'clock she had a call and changed her mind and went out there with a conclusion in search of evidence. You know there is no high crimes and misdemeanors. That's why I think people are getting worried. And by the way, if this is the way Congress wants to spend their time, then I guarantee you the American people who are wise and smart people, God bless them all, they will see it. They will see what's not getting done. They will see no drug pricing, no getting health care for the 29 million Americans who 9 years after Obama-Biden care passed don't have it. They will see no infrastructure. They will see no fixing the TV carrying floors. They will see nothing to keep this Trump economy humming along. That's why he has to do it himself.
This is Kellyanne Conway looking more and more desperate in her defenses of Trump, which has become a Herculean task in light of a never-ending stream of criminality. But at least she's had the decency to realize that the person to blame in all of this is Donald Trump. No, she blamed Nancy Pelosi. Yeah. Right off the bat, she makes it about being a woman, suggesting that Pelosi equivocated and that reflects poorly on women. Not serving as a mouthpiece for a serial abuser, a guy who's locked up women and children on the southern border and taken healthcare away from women, who's attacked women's right to choose and who's bragged about assaulting them. No, working for that guy doesn't reflect poorly on women. The issue here is that Pelosi changed her mind about something. I don't see how women recover from that. And Kellyanne Conway does this frequently, invoking her gender to shame women into doing what she thinks they should do.
I know George is quoted recently as saying, I wish she didn't work there.
So does he want you to step down, George? Does George say? Yeah.
Certainly. But what message would that send to the feminists everywhere who pretend they're independent thinkers and men don't make decisions for them? They can talk it and I can walk it.
And so when she was finished, I said, respectfully, Madam Speaker, would you like to address some of the specifics the president talked about? And she said, I talk to the president, I don't talk to staff. Because let's face it, she's the sixth most rich member of Congress. She treats everybody like they're her staff. She treats me like I'm either her maid or her driver or her pilot or her makeup artist, and I'm not. And I said to her, how very pro-woman of you, per usual, because she's not very pro-woman. She's pro-some woman. A few women.
So I'm not quite sure who appointed Kellyanne the decider of femininity, but I'm not sure she's the best person for the job. Kellyanne then complains that Pelosi first said that she wasn't opening an impeachment inquiry before just hours later saying that she was. But here's the thing, if Nancy Pelosi said at 1 p.m. that she wasn't moving forward with the impeachment inquiry and then said at a major 4 p.m. press conference that she was, that's because the announcement wasn't until 4 p.m. So that's likely why she didn't undermine her own press conference with an earlier announcement. But also, Nancy Pelosi doesn't owe anything to Kellyanne Conway. She can tell Kellyanne something and 1 minute later do something different because she isn't beholden to her. Kind of like how Kellyanne isn't beholden to decency or the American people or facts in general. And by the way, if Kellyanne's sticking point is that she's unhappy when someone in government lies, she's not gonna love the Trump administration. Kellyanne goes on to claim that we know there are no high crimes or misdemeanors. I guess I'm wondering if she had a chance to watch the news, because in only the last week, we've seen a quid pro quo between Trump and the Ukrainian president, in which Trump withheld military aid while he secured a promise from Zelensky to do him the favor of investigating Biden, hiding the electronic transcript of the call from a standard computer system where they're normally stored to a more secure and restricted system, burying the whistleblower report despite it fulfilling the criteria to be released to Congress, using Giuliani to circumvent State Department protocol to help Trump conspire with a foreign government, hiding other communications that Trump has had with leaders of Saudi Arabia and Russia, and most recently a pay-for-policy deal with the NRA where they helped Trump financially in exchange for burying gun control legislation. So I'm not sure where she gets off saying that there are no high crimes or misdemeanors, because literally all of those things are high crimes or misdemeanors. But my favorite is Kellyanne suggesting that now Congress won't pass legislation, using the impeachment inquiry to shame Democrats into not prioritizing the American people over their desire to impeach Trump. Only The Democratic majority House has passed hundreds of bills since they took over, of which, by the halfway point in Congress, only 17 had ended up passing the Republican-led Senate and being signed into law. And some of those include changing the name of a post office in Virginia, creating an award for certain school employees, and clarifying the pay of podiatrists in the Veterans Affairs Department. So to pretend that only now that Trump is heading toward impeachment that we won't see meaningful legislation get passed, to suggest that it's because of that we won't see infrastructure or gun control, is so beyond disingenuous that it's low even for Kellyanne Conway. H.R. 8, the Bipartisan Universal Background Checks Act of 2019, passed the House in February and has been languishing in the Senate ever since. H.R. 987, the Strengthening Healthcare and Lowering Prescription Drugs Cost Act, passed the House in May and hasn't been taken up in the Senate. H.R. 1, which would secure our elections, H.R. 5, the Equality Act, which provides anti-discrimination protections for LGBT Americans, legislation to protect Dreamers, to restore net neutrality, all passed the House and haven't been taken up in the Republican Senate. There's even H.R. 1585, the Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act. And as a woman, I'm sure Kellyanne Conway is aghast that McConnell has refused to bring it to the floor. And by the way, Trump already had the chance to tackle infrastructure, but he stormed out of an infrastructure meeting after he used it as a bargaining chip to get Democrats to stop investigating him, and they refused to do so. And the list goes on and on. In fact, McConnell has bragged about not bringing legislation to the floor, likening himself to the Grim Reaper.
If I'm still the majority leader of the Senate, think of me as the Grim Reaper. None of that stuff is going to pass. None of it.
So Kellyanne can point to everybody else, can claim that the real victim here is Trump, can fearmonger about not passing progressive legislation that was never going to get passed, but just like her boss, her lies aren't fooling anyone.